an episode of White Lotus if you couldn't tell. Hey, it's Mads and welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are you? I am so excited for this week's project because it is one I have been waiting on. If you guys have been around on this channel, you know 4 or 5 months ago, I found this gem of a dresser at my local thrift store for only $20, and I got not only the dresser but also the big mirror that was on top of it together for $20. And I was like, start the car, we gotta go, like put this in the car, I don't care. And if we're being so honest, I didn't really inspect it too closely. I figured if it was veneer or laminate, I would be fine. The color is perfect for the bedroom. The size is great for Jordan and I. It fit perfectly on the wall. The measurements were correct, and I said, I can make this work no matter what. But after looking at it a little closer and doing a little inspecting, I have noticed there are some issues, some problems, a few dings, a couple chunks missing, perhaps a burn hole on the top where it was melted by something. So this week we are going to repair this dresser and make it as good as new. The catch here is that I'm not spending $1 to do this. I already have all of the supplies that I think I need to get this dresser into tip-top shape and make it perfect for our bedroom makeover. Before we get too deep in this video, I just wanted to introduce myself and say hi, I am Mads, and this is my YouTube channel where we are DIYing my entire life. I DIY absolutely everything you could think of on this channel. You are currently watching an episode of Making Over My Childhood Home. If you want to see more makeover videos, check out the playlist down below. I will link everything for you. I also have tons of sewing videos, thrift flips, and a bunch of stuff like that. So if that interests you, go check that out. And if you like me, consider subscribing. Sorry, my cat's yelling at a bird. If you liked me, please consider subscribing. If you like this video, please give it a like. And if you have any opinions, leave them down below. Let's get these repairs started, shall we? This dresser is actually in what I would call amazing condition, considering it is from 1969, and I'm getting that date from the back of the dresser. There's like a handwritten note that says September 1969. And with that into consideration, this thing's in immaculate condition, but it does have some things I think you and I can fix. First, there is this like melt or burn, or I don't really know, on the top here. It's in like a perfect circle or almost perfect circle, and I have no idea what this could be from. If you have any idea, let me know. It is like burnt off the top layer or like the laminate layer here, but that's like a big problem we need to solve. The second like most glaring issue is there are a couple of these drawers that are kind of chunked and chipped out just on the corners that just need to be wood filled or epoxied or something to fill them, along with the fronts of the drawers on the top and the bottom. There's a bunch of like scrapes and dings and cuts where it's like peeled away or chipped away. So we can definitely fix that. And speaking of the drawers, some of them are a little like loosey-goosey. So like the face of the drawer, and then there's this like strip of wood on top of it, and it's like coming up on the corners in some places. So I wanna like nail and wood glue that down so that they're nice and sturdy again. It just generally needs a good clean and scrub and refresh. And I'm hoping everything already in like my DIY bin to do this. And now that this isn't on the carpet, I'm noticing it's got a pretty significant wiggle. So hopefully we can adjust the legs a little bit because it's a little tipsy-turvy. I'm gonna start with this like burn. If I feel it, it feels like there was just like someone put something hot here. Maybe it was a candle or something. It's pretty small. And I'm gonna try using these furniture markers first. I think that's what I'm gonna try. I just don't know if it's gonna stick, is my only worry, so we might have to paint it. I'm gonna start with the cherry marker. This, it's a little bit redder and lighter in color. I'm kind of going to go lightest to darkest. You can always add, but you can't take away, right? It's working a little bit. You see when I put the marker down, it kind of like balls and pills and dries up right away. It seems to be doing something. So you can see this is where I've put the marker and this is where I haven't. So it is coloring it a little bit, but you can see when I put this down, see how it pills? It does seem to be working though. I'm just gonna keep going and hope for the best here. I'm moving on to the mahogany marker and just trying to like be super careful about where I put it. This mahogany one is working a little bit better, it's darker. I'm finding that I gotta work in like straight lines and in small sections. It is like adding color for sure, and the color is sticking, so that's nice. This is after a layer of mahogany on there. It's definitely really red. So I think from your angle, it actually looks pretty good. And when you're walking by the dress, you don't really notice it. It's not light anymore, but I will say this is not a perfect repair and I'm not 100% happy with it, if I'm so honest. You can very much tell that I just kind of like drew over this. It's just a dark hole now instead of a light hole. I think it blends easier and I will be able to hide it easier with something on top of it. I just like couldn't get it to look like grain. There was nothing I could do. I'm just gonna kind of accept it for as it is. And if you have any ideas on how I could repair this in a better way without actually like repairing the veneer, I think this is the best I can do for now. I'm gonna move on to repairing the corners of the drawers. So this next repair is actually really straightforward. I want to fix these like lifting corners that are on a couple of these tops. I went through and I checked them all and these two are like the worst offenders. The other ones are okay. You can kind of see that like the glue has been lifted, especially on this one, using a really thin brush. This is like almost like a brush that you would do like for your French tips with or something like that. It's a very like detailed brush and it's gonna be able to squidge between the front of the board and the top. What I'm gonna do is take my wood glue and with the brush, smush it in there to cover both of them, and then go in with my little hammer and a couple of small nails to secure it tightly together. And then I'm gonna be able to wood fill these later and I'm gonna be painting the tops of these, so this will work just fine for me. The nails are there to hold the trim and the front of the drawer together while the glue dries. You could also use a clamp or painter's tape, but I just want to make sure these are extra sturdy. These get used all the time, so I'm going to reinforce it as much as I possibly can. You want to make sure that when you're using wood glue, it's on both surfaces that you're gluing, like both fronts of whatever you're gluing. And using this little brush means I can get right in there as deep as possible, and I'm not going to like totally over flood it. And with wood glue, you also want to make sure you're being pretty liberal. You want to, when you're pressing it together, the wood glue to squeeze out so that you can wipe it away. That's going to give you the best retention. Well, hi Moon. Hey BB. You're being so helpful, thank you. Perfect, I've got my wood glue spread all in there. Next, I am just gonna take my little picture frame nails or whatever, just the littlest nails you have, really. I'm just gonna make sure they're long enough. I'm gonna go with not the smallest size, but my second smallest size nail. And right in the lip here, to press everything down, I'm gonna just add a couple of nails. And now I've got this overhang of glue. You can kind of see it oozing out the front there. Just gonna wipe that away with a wet paper towel and let it dry. This end of the drawer is attached back on. Yay! Oh, that looks so good. There is only one really bad corner here, so I'm just gonna very quickly do this. I wanna add a little bit more volume here. So I'm gonna go in with my wood filler, hopefully just kind of fill this a little bit better. So for this corner, I'm just taking a little bit of wood filler. It's lost quite a bit on this corner, so I can't just put a marker on it or cover it up. I do want to add a little bit of volume back here. My best tip for when you're doing wood filler is to overfill, because you're then going to sand it. It's just like filling a hole in a wall. If you overfill it a little bit and you add a little bit too much, you actually have some to take away to make it flush with whatever you're making. And I do personally like to squidge a bit out on a paper towel or on a surface and then just use my finger. I find it way easier than doing it straight out of a bottle. This way I feel like I have way more control. And honestly, it's just more fun this way. This wood fill is totally dry and ready for a quick sand. Just using a little sanding block to just like sharpen up the edges, make it nice and even and flat, and get it to the point where we can cover it up and make it look like the rest of the board. I'm also taking like extra care to like not try to sand the drawer front itself and just sand the part with the wood fill, because I don't want to scuff up the drawer too much. The corner is nice and repaired. And to color match this corner, I'm gonna go ahead and use these wax crayons. I didn't really like the way the markers worked, so I'm gonna give these a go. I'm gonna do like a mixture of maple, cherry, and oak. And just go in and just kind of like color it like a coloring book. I'm just going in with my marker like very lightly, just to like add a different variation here. Just trying to blend the corner in the best I can. It's not a perfect match. It's better than nothing. I will say the more I futzed with these markers, you really have to like work in layers and work in like small sections. I'm kind of like tapping it in and then pushing it out and like trying to blend it as quickly as I can before it dries, because it looks the best that way. They're really hard to like blend and make look natural. There we go. And that corner is now fully repaired. It looks really good, actually. It looks better than the hole at the top, definitely. Futzing with those using a mixture of the markers and the wax, I think helped, and also the wood fill just like took it better. It was just easier with the wood fill for some reason than the laminate on top. It's probably because it is laminate. It's just harder to absorb. Now that we have the big repairs done, I want to go ahead and go over the whole dresser, the fronts and everything, and just make sure any of the little dings and scuffs and scrapes are filled in. I'm going to use the exact same technique and style I did with this corner, the wax crayons and the markers, to create the most natural look and cover up as much as possible. This is really just going to renew what we already have here and just bring back to life what was missing from this old dresser.
Wearing nothing but your fake smile, looking like a clown. You should leave.
After I completed all the repairs, I wanted to add a couple final details to really make this dresser work for my space in particular. So I cleared up a spot on my deck and brought the dresser fronts outside and prepped them for a little bit of paint. I wanted to do a black detail somewhere on this dresser, as that's going to be a reoccurring detail throughout the entire project. I've got some black lights we're going to put up. All of the metals are going to be black, and the curtain trims are black. I wanted to add just a small black detail to really make the room feel super cohesive and like this dresser was custom built for me.
You can beg and you can plead, but that don't mean nothing in this goddamn world to me. You should let it be, 'cause I'm not your woman.
We are all done. I am so pleased with how this turned out, and with just some simple repairs and easy technique, I was able to make this dresser from 1969 perfect without spending a penny. And let me remind you, I only paid $20 for her. This is not the mirror she came with. Her mirror is the size of her. It's in storage right now. I have a plan for that for other space, actually a DIY later on, so stay tuned for that. You will see that later on this channel. That's coming up in the next couple of months here, but this is just beautiful. I can't wait to set this up in the bedroom itself and get to use it. I am so pleased with how this turned out. And again, we spent no money, and this took me an afternoon to personalize and customize and bring and breathe new life into this dresser from 1969 that I only spent $20 on. So I am very pleased with how this has turned out. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. If you have any tips or tricks for restoring furniture, let me know down below. I always love to hear from you. I will see you guys next Sunday. Bye. And what you guys don't see is that literally right there, I have the cat tree set up. Do you want to see them? There. They are. They have been perched here, watching me. Seven's up top there, Ketchup's down there. And don't look at those U-Haul boxes. You didn't see U-Haul boxes. No, you didn't. You didn't see it. I'm still living out of boxes I moved 6 months ago.